I want to talk about how SAS can be seen as a hero's quest journey. Because in one way, it's a circling and surrendered leadership training, 6 months, and it's designed for you to become a circling leader or to immerse yourself in the practice of surrendered leadership. But there's another way that we can look at it as a journey into your inner journey to discover what's most true for you, or to discover essence, or what the hero's journey is about how humans find their truth, or find the deepest sense of love in their life, or find what will really bring a deep fulfillment or purpose to why they're alive, why you're here. And there's this amazing thing that as humans it seemed like we just started writing these stories because they were entertaining, or we didn't even know, we were compelled to make them. But then now looking at them from this vantage point now, where we know so much about human development, it's amazing that these stories depict inspiring things that we go through to wake up or grow up as adults. And the SAS is like this. Like even the way people step into the course, I feel like it's a step like into a call to action. So we're kind of standing there saying, like, here's this opportunity, here's a way for you to go into your hero's journey. And then it's like, it seems like there's a moment where someone's ready to step into that. And it's like, it's not easy to know what you're stepping into. You have no idea what's going to unfold. You may have done some circling, but it's a new adventure. And then the next step is like, you're going to be with this group of people. It's almost like the Lord of the Rings with the Fellowship, where you suddenly had these dwarves and elves and hobbits, and you got Gandalf. And I think that's a symbol of how different people have so many like different ways to navigate what's essentially like presence and connection. That's what we're doing in circling and surrendered leadership. It's like we're exploring how we're really present in the world. We're also exploring how we're connected. And like people can have such different aspects to how they do that. And that's where we can learn so much being in a group. It's one of the essences of circling. It's like we're coming together for 6 months, and it's like, here's our fellowship. Each person in the group is going to give us a different challenge. They're all committed to going on this journey. So it's like becomes the cauldron for our development. And then once we step into that and we meet our fellowship and we go on this journey together, there's for everyone in this SAS there'll be trials, and there'll be the underworld. So the journey into the underworld is where it's like the world you thought you were in, the person you thought you were is suddenly seen in a whole new light. Suddenly you can't be sure if your beliefs are right, or suddenly there's emotions you're feeling with people that you didn't realize were happening, or there's more subtlety. There's ways people are communicating or showing their inner world which is different to you, and it's bringing up responses that surprise you. And we're bringing a lot of attention to that all the time in the practice of circling and through the SAS. So it's just very normal for us to be with people in the SAS and feel them going into their underworld. And that can be quite a difficult and daunting prospect, and something that we maybe don't realize we're avoiding generally in our lives. Whereas coming into this container of SAS, it's like we're welcoming you into your underworld. And actually we have a lot of trust for that place. So for us, when we see someone struggling or maybe hitting a mini depression or not knowing if anything makes sense, we're actually like, oh good, they're going, like they're on their journey. We don't get so afraid of those kinds of signs, even though they're uncomfortable for us as leaders, because it can be a time we get challenged a lot. And then ultimately, it seems for everyone at some point during their SAS journey, there's like facing the dragon. Like, what is our ultimate challenge in connection? Like, for me, I've definitely had to face where I go into very deep places of shame and how I withdraw. And it's like almost like I'm in the mine in the bottom of the mountain. And how I've had to navigate that through circling, it's been really delicate and vulnerable, and it's sometimes felt like a bull rock, the demon that's going to destroy me. And then there are moments where it seems I find my magician presence and I can face the truth and I can go into the cavern and meet my darkest challenge. And I think for everyone in SAS, there's going to be a moment like that where you're just not sure where you're going and what it's all about. And it's like, will I go in? Will I resist? And suddenly you find yourself facing yourself at a deeper level. And then when we do that, often we can find a place of being or light or love or some kind of emotional or spiritual sense that it's like our gift. And when we come from this place, we can see it in the group and with our fellowship that people respond differently and they open up in ways we couldn't have imagined, and that's like our treasure. That's why we go on this difficult quest, because we find like what life is really about for us. And even if it's only for a moment, like some people might only taste it for a few moments, some people go into it for a while, but it's that opportunity to really know who we are. But then the journey doesn't stop there, because it's like we can have this moment when we're on our journey with the fellowship, we're in the SAS, everyone's circling together, we're committed, and we find like our deepest treasure, but then we go home and like no one cares. Like in Lord of the Rings, they go back to the Hobbiton, they've just saved Middle Earth and nothing's changed, no one asks them about it. And that can be what it's like in circling. It's like you go so deep, you take all these brave steps, and suddenly, like, you think everyone's going to be like amazed, and they like don't even understand what you're talking about. So then the journey is about how do we take our treasure back to the world? And often it's humbling. It's actually like, just because we went on this journey, it doesn't mean we can expect the world to change for us. It's actually, we've got to initiate the world into the process that we went through. And we've got to be with those around us in their call to action and be patient with them. Or if people around us go into their underworld, how do we respond? Do we start telling them about our treasure, or do we actually support them and understand, trust their journey? And that's where the journey home becomes another epic. And in an SAS, you may only touch parts of these bits of the journey, but it's really developed to enable you to inhabit where you are on your journey and to support you to go further and to be with people who are very committed to that journey. And it's what most matters to us at Circling Europe.